What if the fat around your waist isn't simply extra energy waiting to be burned, but a living, highly active tissue your body is constantly trying to regulate and sometimes struggling to control? Most people assume belly fat is easy to explain. Eat fewer calories, exercise more, and the problem disappears. But modern research in cellular biology paints a much more fascinating picture. Deep inside your body, an ancient biological system is continuously working to maintain balance. It's so important that the discoveries behind it earned the Nobel Prize in 2016. Yet very few people understand what this process is actually doing inside abdominal fat. The fat buried deep inside your abdomen, known as visceral fat, surrounds vital organs like the liver, pancreas, and intestines. Unlike the fat just beneath your skin, it isn't simply sitting there as stored fuel. It behaves much more like an active organ. Studies published in obesity reviews have shown that visceral fat constantly releases chemical messengers called adipokines, including leptin, resistin, and TNF-alpha. These signaling molecules travel through your bloodstream, influencing how your liver manages blood sugar, how your blood vessels respond to pressure, and even how your immune system regulates inflammation. One reason visceral fat has such a powerful effect is its location. It sits right next to the portal vein, the major blood vessel responsible for carrying nutrients directly to the liver. That means almost everything released by visceral fat reaches the liver within moments. Research from Harvard Medical School has demonstrated that this close communication creates an ongoing feedback loop between the liver and abdominal fat, gradually disrupting metabolic balance over time, regardless of how much fat exists elsewhere in the body. That helps explain why two people with the same body weight can have completely different levels of health. One person may carry relatively little visceral fat, while another has much more hidden around the organs. Even if they look similar on the outside, the person with greater visceral fat is living with tissue that is constantly sending biological signals, influencing hormones, affecting inflammation, and communicating with nearly every major organ system. Understanding this is essential before exploring what happens when autophagy becomes involved. The word autophagy comes from Greek and literally means self-eating. While the name may sound unsettling, it actually describes one of the body's most remarkable survival systems. At its core, autophagy functions as an internal recycling program. Whenever a cell detects damaged proteins, worn-out organelles, or invading microbes, it encloses them inside a specialized double-membrane structure called an autophagosome. This package is then delivered to the lysosome, where everything is broken down into reusable building blocks that the cell can recycle. The groundbreaking work of Yoshinori Osumi, recognized with the 2016 Nobel Prize, revealed just how essential this process is for maintaining healthy cells and supporting long-term function throughout the body. Many people mistakenly believe autophagy is simply another method for burning fat. In reality, that isn't what it does. At least not directly. Autophagy works inside individual cells, clearing away damaged components and preserving normal cellular function. When people say that autophagy burns fat, they're simplifying a far more complex biological process into a catchy phrase. What actually happens inside fat cells is much more sophisticated, and scientists are still uncovering new details. Research from the University of Texas Southwestern Medical Center, led by Dr. Beth Levine, one of the world's leading experts on autophagy, has shown that this process plays a central role in regulating how fat is handled inside fat cells. Rather than simply destroying stored fat, autophagy reorganizes, recycles, and reshapes the internal machinery responsible for lipid metabolism. That difference is incredibly important if you want to understand what's really happening inside belly fat at the microscopic level. Autophagy isn't permanently switched on. Its activity rises and falls depending on the signals your body receives, especially signals related to nutrient availability and cellular stress. One of the most important molecular regulators is a protein called mTOR, short for mechanistic target of rapamycin. When mTOR is highly active, autophagy remains suppressed. As mTOR activity declines, which commonly happens when nutrient signals become limited, autophagy becomes much more active. This relationship has been confirmed repeatedly by research conducted at the Salk Institute and numerous laboratories around the world. Inside fat cells, activation of autophagy can trigger a specialized process known as lipophagy. This term was introduced by researchers at Washington University School of Medicine in a landmark 2009 study published in Nature. Lipophagy refers to the breakdown of lipid droplets through the autophagy pathway. Once the machinery becomes active, it can begin targeting these stored fat droplets, breaking them apart and releasing fatty acids that either the same cell or nearby tissues can use as fuel. This discovery completely changed scientists' understanding of fat metabolism. Before 2009, researchers had no idea that autophagy was directly involved in regulating the lipid stores inside fat cells. It became clear that fat metabolism was influenced by far more than hormones and calorie balance alone. Interestingly, not every type of body fat responds to autophagy in the same way. Subcutaneous fat, the layer located just beneath your skin that you can pinch on your arms, thighs, or hips, behaves differently from visceral fat. Research published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism has shown that visceral fat has its own unique molecular fingerprint. It contains different receptor populations, distinct mitochondrial characteristics, and higher baseline levels of cellular stress compared to subcutaneous fat. These differences influence exactly how and when autophagy becomes active within each fat depot. Visceral fat presents a biological paradox. It is far more metabolically active than subcutaneous fat, yet it also appears to be more resistant to certain aspects of the body's cellular maintenance systems. Scientists at Sweden's Karolinska Institute found that visceral fat cells naturally experience greater levels of inflammation and oxidative stress. At first glance, that seems like it should stimulate more autophagy because cellular stress is one of its strongest triggers. However, the reality is more complicated. When inflammation remains low-grade but persistent for long periods, it gradually disrupts the normal signaling pathways that control autophagy. In other words, the inflammatory environment created by visceral fat slowly weakens the very cleanup system that should be protecting those cells. Continuous exposure to inflammatory cytokines and oxidative damage eventually reduces the efficiency of the autophagic machinery itself. This decline isn't just theoretical, it has been measured directly. A study published in the journal Autophagy in 2020 compared autophagic activity in visceral and subcutaneous fat taken from the same individuals. Researchers discovered that visceral fat from people with poor metabolic health showed significantly lower lysosomal activity, indicating that the cellular recycling system was functioning far less efficiently than it should. In other words, the biggest problem wasn't starting autophagy, it was finishing it. The first stages of the process were taking place, with autophagosomes forming as expected, but the final recycling step wasn't being completed efficiently. Scientists now recognize this difference between initiating autophagy and successfully completing the entire process as one of the most important ways to evaluate how well the system is actually functioning inside a tissue. When autophagic flux is working properly inside a fat cell, the changes are impossible to see from the outside. Yet they are remarkably significant at the microscopic level. Fat droplets, which serve as the cell's energy storage units, become targets for the autophagy machinery. Specialized membranes gradually surround portions of these droplets, beginning their breakdown. As the stored fat is dismantled, fatty acids are released and transported into the mitochondria, where they are burned to generate ATP, the primary energy source used by cells. This entire sequence has been carefully mapped through the work of Dr. Rajat Singh and his research team at Albert Einstein College of Medicine, whose discoveries transformed the scientific understanding of how fat cells manage stored lipids. Autophagy also performs another critical task inside fat cells by removing damaged mitochondria through a specialized process called mitophagy. Over time, visceral fat cells tend to accumulate dysfunctional mitochondria, largely because they exist in an environment of ongoing inflammation. When autophagy clears away these damaged structures, the cells become more efficient at producing energy while generating fewer harmful reactive oxygen species. Research published in Nature Cell Biology by scientists at the University of California, San Diego demonstrated that restoring healthy mitophagy in visceral fat cells significantly reduced the inflammatory chemicals those cells produced. This finding suggests that maintaining an effective autophagy system benefits far more than the fat cells themselves. It may also influence the overall inflammatory state of the entire body. The immune cells residing inside visceral fat are far from passive observers. They constantly interact with surrounding fat cells and actively influence how autophagy functions. One of the most recognizable features within unhealthy visceral fat is the presence of crown-like structures. These are clusters of macrophages that gather around fat cells that have died or are in the process of dying. They appear much more frequently in visceral fat than in the fat stored beneath the skin. Research from the Joslin Diabetes Center found that these macrophage clusters create highly concentrated pockets of inflammation within the tissue. Inside these localized areas, inflammatory cytokine levels become dramatically higher than in neighboring regions. At the same time, autophagic activity in nearby fat cells becomes noticeably weaker, directly linking chronic inflammation with reduced cellular recycling. What makes this relationship especially interesting is that autophagy and inflammation continuously influence one another. Under healthy conditions, autophagy acts like a braking system that keeps excessive inflammation under control. It removes damaged cellular components and breaks down inflammasome structures that would otherwise continue stimulating immune responses. A study published in Nature Immunology in 2017 clearly demonstrated this mechanism. Researchers showed that prolonged inflammatory signaling creates a situation where the cells most in need of internal cleanup gradually lose the ability to perform that cleanup effectively. Inside visceral fat, this creates something of a biological traffic jam. Damaged proteins continue accumulating. Defective mitochondria remain inside cells instead of being removed. Inflammation becomes even more deeply established, while the cellular recycling system responsible for correcting these problems operates at reduced efficiency. Dr. Ana Maria Cuervo, a professor at Albert Einstein College of Medicine and one of the world's foremost authorities on autophagy, has described this cycle as one of the major links between metabolic disease and accelerated cellular aging. Her research consistently shows that restoring healthy autophagy in metabolically stressed tissues, including fat tissue, can reduce inflammatory markers throughout the body, producing benefits that extend well beyond the fat itself. One of the questions researchers hear most often is surprisingly simple. How long does it actually take for autophagy to affect visceral fat? The most accurate answer is that it depends on a complex chain of biological events that scientists are still working to fully understand. One thing is already clear: autophagy does not switch on in every tissue at the same time. Studies using genetically engineered mice that allow researchers to observe autophagy in real time have revealed major differences between organs. Findings from the Tokyo Metropolitan Institute of Medical Science showed that liver cells begin responding to autophagy triggering conditions within just a few hours. Visceral fat, however, responds much more slowly, and its overall response is considerably weaker. The condition of the fat tissue itself adds another layer of complexity. A 2022 study published in Cell Metabolism examined visceral fat samples collected from people with different levels of metabolic health and found striking differences in how their cells responded. Among metabolically healthy individuals, measurable autophagic activity inside visceral fat typically appeared after roughly 12 to 16 hours under the appropriate conditions. In contrast, participants with established metabolic dysfunction showed a much weaker response. In many cases, it took more than twice as long for autophagy to reach similar levels of activity. Importantly, the problem wasn't that the body failed to send the proper signals. Instead, the fat cells themselves had become less capable of responding. Their internal recycling machinery simply wasn't functioning as efficiently as it once had. From a biological perspective, this means that someone who has carried excess abdominal fat for many years may have a structurally weakened autophagy system within that tissue. This isn't simply a temporary slowdown. It reflects long-term changes in how those cells operate. Autophagosomes form more slowly, lysosomes become less efficient, and the overall recycling process loses capacity. Researchers at the Buck Institute for Research on Aging describe this decline as one of the defining features of aging fat tissue. As autophagy gradually weakens, the very cellular problems it was designed to prevent begin accelerating, creating a cycle that becomes increasingly difficult for the tissue to break. So when people ask how quickly autophagy reaches visceral fat, the answer isn't determined only by hours or days. It also depends on the biological history of that tissue, how long it has been exposed to metabolic stress, inflammation, and impaired cellular function over the course of many years. One of the most surprising discoveries in autophagy research is that the biggest biological improvements begin long before you notice any visible change in body fat. When autophagy becomes active inside visceral fat, the earliest effects happen entirely at the cellular level. Gene activity starts shifting, inflammatory signaling changes, and the behavior of mitochondria begins to improve. A 2020 study published in Molecular Metabolism followed these early events and found that markers of inflammation started improving within just 24 to 48 hours of increased autophagic activity, even though the total amount of fat stored in the tissue remained virtually unchanged. The next stage involves something scientists call adipose tissue remodeling. Autophagy doesn't just work inside individual fat cells. It also helps maintain the extracellular matrix, the supportive framework that surrounds them. As damaged proteins and cellular debris are removed, the overall structure of the tissue gradually changes. Research from the Weizmann Institute of Science in Israel has shown that this remodeling improves how oxygen and nutrients move through visceral fat, creating a healthier environment for the cells themselves. These improvements happen beneath the surface. A bathroom scale won't detect them. A measuring tape won't reveal them. Even standard body composition scans often miss these microscopic changes because they occur long before any noticeable reduction in fat mass. Another common misconception is that autophagy simply destroys fat cells. In reality, that's rarely what happens. Mature fat cells, known as adipocytes, are surprisingly stable. Research from the Karolinska Institute estimates that only about 10% of fat cells are naturally replaced each year. In other words, most of the fat cells you have today are the very same ones you had a year ago. What autophagy changes is not primarily the number of fat cells, but how those cells function. Their mitochondria become healthier, their inflammatory signaling decreases, and the way they organize and manage stored fat changes at the molecular level. Because of this, researchers now distinguish between two different outcomes of autophagy in fat tissue. The first, and by far the more common, is lipophagy-driven lipid reduction. During this process, stored fat droplets inside existing fat cells are gradually broken down, making the cells smaller without eliminating them. The second possibility is much less common and is known as autophagic cell death, or type 2 programmed cell death. In this situation, autophagy becomes so extensive that it contributes to the complete removal of the cell itself. However, a review published in Cell Death and Differentiation concluded that while this phenomenon has been observed under carefully controlled laboratory conditions, its role in normal human visceral fat remains uncertain and continues to be investigated. What researchers are becoming increasingly confident about is that prolonged autophagy changes how visceral fat behaves, rather than simply wiping it out. Studies led by Dr. Philip Scherer at UT Southwestern, whose work on adiponectin and fat cell biology has become foundational in the field, found that fat cells emerging from periods of elevated autophagic activity develop a healthier secretory profile. They release lower amounts of inflammatory adipokines while producing greater amounts of protective molecules, including higher levels of